This video is sponsored by Amran.
Don't think I can explain how grateful I am for 100,000 subscribers. It's been an absolute wild ride. Giving up my software development career, let's take this channel to 1
A
million.
lot of people ask me, Andres, what is it that you do? I started simply labeling myself as a tech YouTuber. I basically take tech, incorporate it into my lifestyle, and review those products based on my experience. I think that's a good way of putting it. Of course, with time, the channel grew. It went from a bedroom into an office I'm actually really proud to have. It's a space I love spending time in, and I almost treat it like my second home. I guess that's pretty much what I do for a living. I'm a nerd, a tech geek. I love software and hardware. I just love engineering. And because I love filming and cameras so much, it all boiled down to this. You know what? Let me give you guys a bit of a tour of the office and the studio and talk a bit about what I'm planning for the future. Okay, so grab some popcorn and enjoy the tour. The office layout. Let me quickly draw this for you so you can get a feel of being here. It's sort of like two rectangles coming together with an entrance, 3 setup spots, a living room, all sitting in 539 square feet. When you walk in here, the very first thing you'll get to see is the gaming desk setup, but that's not where I head to most mornings. I actually head to this little kitchen area. The cabinetry in here was bought at IKEA. It honestly stores some supplies, food, and also some drinks. And the reason why I think of it as a kitchen is because it has the mini fridge, the toaster oven, and a microwave. Honestly, it does the job, and above of it, we paired it with a Besta TV unit to store more nonsense. In front of this lives one of our most recent setup projects. I like to call this the camera gear setup. Every morning, after putting my lunch away, grabbing some water and my omega-3, I tend to make sure my batteries are charged. I grab my camera of choice with the lens I need and head straight to the main area. But yeah, essentially this here is where we store audio equipment, camera equipment. We created systems to charge things, store some tech, organize the tools we most often use for our makeovers. There's just a lot happening here within these husky drawers and also within these backboards. And yes, I do have a monitor and a laptop here. I'm slowly trying to use this setup as a place to interact with our NAS and dump camera footage straight into it. For the longest time, honestly, I didn't know what to do with this entrance, but I think the way it's been organized lately, especially with the bags, has been able to save us lots of room by removing things from the floor and making it all look nice. This is usually where I tell Google, hey Google, turn on everything, and then it turns on everything. But yeah, let me just show you all the lighting in here. When it comes to the lighting in here, I actually avoid using these panels as much as I can. You guys have probably seen in the videos that we have a bunch of mounted softboxes, light bars everywhere, and LED panels to light our sets. I'm just not a fan of the office lights as I have zero control over the type of lighting they emit. So what we did is that we created a whole automated system with all the filming lights we have, and we control them through Google Home and Sidus Link. I guess what I'm trying to say is that we use our film lights simply as regular lights as well. Amran lights have been great for the studio. They are soft, they are super easy to use for the videos, and they connect really well with their app. I have about 3 to 4 different types of lights in here, whether it's the softbox with their Amran 200X, their Amran 150C, their P60 LED panels, T4C and T2C tubes. They just all integrate together in order to light up about 75% of the studio. I do have our main key light, which is from Aperture, which works seamlessly with the Amran products we have inside Sidus Link. Regardless of that though, I've got the iPad that pretty much controls them with Sidus Link. So if I want to control the brightness, the Kelvins, use cool effects for different types of scenes, I can do so within the app. Sidus Link really acts as our main console for the lights, and there is actually an insane amount of other things you can do within. Aside from having modes like the white mode, the gel mode, the color mode, and the system effect mode, the app also has other pro tools like a picker effects, a manual effects, music effects, and more. You know what I'll do is that I'll leave a link to Citus Link so you can read more about it. But yeah, basically our setup allows us to do things that the Office LED panels can't, like of course controlling them with the iPad, pair them with Hue plugs, and connect them through the Google Home app to run voice commands. I just recently discovered that to make the panels work with the Hue plugs, you need to manually set them to studio mode, so every time the Hue plugs go off and on, you will need to switch the panels on manually. The panels are honestly great. Their own screen unit allows you to do most of what the app offers within their UI. The same thing can be said about the tubes and their integrated LED screen, and of course I'll say the same about the softbox setup, except that the 200X and 150C are quite different, especially when it comes to delivering RGB, the lumens, and their color temperatures. So yeah, all of it along the Hue bulbs, Hue and LIFX light strips, and some Govee products pretty much light up our sets.
Believe it or not, I've actually got a full automation video on how I set everything up in the studio. Not much has changed. You guys can go check that out if it's of any interest to you guys.
The same thing can be said about our gaming corner. It's funny because as much as this is our gaming setup, we use it a lot when the boys come over. It's the gaming corner where we test monitors, we test gaming equipment, controllers, PCs, all sorts of cool gadgets we review. We created this space exactly for that purpose. The slated wall behind, funny enough, it was actually custom built by one of our friends when we first moved in. The goal of this corner has always been to have a bit of a setup with character, and I really think that the shift standing desk with the deep black top really delivers. Most of the peripherals here are within that black theme, including the autonomous chair. We used to have a P60X Amran panel to bring in some more light, but turns out we needed them a lot more for when it came to filming tech, so we not only use the Elgato key light now, but also a few other lights like the light bar I showed you guys, the overhead lighting setup with the Xbox casting some light over it, and on the side the gantry wall light. What do you guys think of this? Actually, I think it's a great addition. I like how it sort of adds a bit of a charm to the Red Bull mini fridge. The only thing I do want to get rid of is the drawer. It's from IKEA, it sucks. I really want to get an Ergon office drawer. The rest I'll keep as it is for now, especially this accessories corner. This collection from IKEA is actually worth getting. The wood adds a bit of a charm, more specifically when paired with some slates from the wooden veneer hub. To wrap it up, I think plants do the trick. Try to use fake plants, guys. I feel like it's best, especially for sets. It also hides nonsense on the floors and really fills up empty corners. Look, it's honestly my favorite set in here. As for the living room area, for the longest time I've been contemplating on changing things up. More than anything, I'm talking about the media unit, but the more I look at it, the more I really like it. I wanted to go with an industrial look and get the same Falbo collection. The thing is that it wouldn't float, and the bottom LED panels I got from IKEA wouldn't really make sense, so I think I want to keep it as it is. I mean, after all, I did spend a lot of time organizing all of its cable management. I drilled holes in the wall, passed cables through, mounted cables within the unit. I did a whole hack to make it all look super clean. What do you guys think of this? Should we just keep it as it is? Look, the goal of this space is to obviously review TVs like we did with this LG C1, review consoles, and just chill with friends, which is why the Stockholm couch from IKEA made sense to have. This by itself is somewhat of a set we use a lot. It's why I decorated it with some wall shelves, a nice hectare floor lamp with Hue bulbs, and on its right, a plant. I think it looks really nice and it's one of my favorite walls in here.
It's funny because this wall used to be the same color as that wall, and ever since we painted it, I'm like, that looks so much freaking better.
The gray wall behind the TV, by the way, is called Gray Ash by Bear. It's actually one of the coolest colors to shoot light at, and the Hue TV light strips and the Govee light bar really showcase that.
Okay, so this is the main area. I guess this is where I head to after I'm done in the kitchen and things like that, and it's where the magic happens.
And I think that this Husky tool bench is like my favorite piece in here. This here's where a lot of our tech is stored. Things we used to review, like phones, tablets, laptops. We have all sorts of cables, phone cases, chargers, power banks. it just doesn't end. Everything is properly labeled, properly stored, and well compartmentalized. I mean, an example of that is when we got these hooks at Rona, we decided to hang the 4 most used types of cables on them, or even better, proper SD card buckets to help us with production. This also has a side power outlet that helps us charging things, and I also took this to a whole new level by installing a massive power bar outlet in the back. It sort of helps us connect the neon sign, some of the lights in here, the chargers for our Amran light bars, my soldering machine, and also our main iPad that's mainly in charge of most of the automation in this room. This is just a full tech station and I cannot recommend it enough. In front of it sits a kitchen island, believe it or not. It's called Vad Holma or something around that. It's from IKEA actually. This here really helps filling the main area and we use this table quite a lot for shooting. I like storing our mouse pads in here as well as using the top to store small tech items we're about to use or unbox.
I'd just like to point out though that if you really want to get this whole setup, these are 2 separate pieces, piece number 1 and piece number 2. So 2 separate boxes. Keep that in mind.
There is honestly not much happening on this except for maybe our extra large white groove made mousepad complemented by this corkboard pad I found laying around. Honestly, it's an island that comes in really handy, plus it's movable and easy to drag around. Now in front of that is our little miscellaneous corner. There's a bit of everything happening here. I've got a wireless printer, boxes, a pegboard, decoration, shelves. It's honestly all over the place, but man does this corner come in handy. Handy because the pegboard really has some of the essential stuff that we use throughout the day. I did pair this with this desk to sort of have a place where our Google Home tablet could live. I decorated the table based off that and chose to go with this color to match the shelves. It's a nice little spot to have and it's very much personalized to us. It's not really something worth making a video about in my opinion.
Before you guys ask, this is actually a real plant, believe it or not. It looks freaking fake. This one too is real, looks nice. And this one too is also real. I just find it funny how everyone that comes to the office thinks these plants are fake.
Yeah, we've got some real plants close to the window. Okay, so this here is the latest version of my desk setup. This is my baby, my Zen space. It's absolutely the space I love sitting in. It's honestly just unbeatable for me. The dual ultra wide monitor setup is just absolutely great to have. A lot of you guys will wonder about neck pain, but I am telling you, it's not a thing. Mainly because the top monitor is mainly used to glance over at things. If I'm watching a podcast or sending windows if I need room on my main screen, transfer footage, have my Discord chat open, use phone link, reference images if I'm working on Photoshop. I'm telling you guys, it's just such a nice setup to have. The trick is to also get a chair that nicely reclines so you don't need to break your head looking at it. And I just recently got proper speaker stands to nicely aim the speakers towards my ears. Everything here has its purpose. There's practically nothing that's for show. I use GrooveMate accessories to store items, their GrooveMate monitor stand, their pencil cup, and their catch-all shelf. I have a Harbour London mat and a Harbour London mouse mat for my G903. It really needs a cleanup, just like my Mode keyboard actually, my Kingston dock, which is an absolute must at this point. We've also got my BenQ light bar to deliver some nice overhead lighting, my Anchorwork webcam for when I have meetings. I've got a Google Home speaker. Literally everything has its place and purpose. And yes, it includes the fridge with a bunch of Snickers in it.
Yeah, I'm sort of obsessed with Snickers. I think this fridge is the greatest thing that has ever happened to this setup. Honestly though, quite a few things have changed here. If you guys want a dedicated review, just let me know down below.
But yeah, like I said, this is where I spend 70% of my time. While that happens, Jan is often in the back making some coffee. In the morning, when he gets here, he often likes to make himself some good coffee. This is why I created this little set for him. It's literally a space for his machine, the accessories he needs for his morning routine, and also for snacks. Actually, him and I decided that we could probably use this storage unit for some snacks nearby. I will say this set is very much inspired by Becky and Chris. We tried to add our own flavor into it, especially with the way we decorated the shelves, the neon sign, and how we added this small light here. As for his setup, This is where 90% of our video editing and color correction happens. He has a whole mapped out controller that he paired with his keyboard and mouse to edit as fast as he can. He's actually very efficient with it. We just recently changed his monitor setup into a single ultra wide ViewSonic one because he wanted to try it. Turns out this 38-inch panel is very much for color grading and video editing. It's nice, it's smooth, matches the colors of my LG ultra wide a lot. He seems to be liking it but misses his LG dual up setup. This whole workstation is powered by a Corsair custom built PC. For now it does the job, but eventually when we hop on DaVinci we will be switching him into a Mac Studio. But yeah, like me, all the items that sit on his Ergon office desk have their use. I really like the contrast the side plant creates, along with the color of the wood from most of his items. It's such a nice setup, and the gantry light, the light bars at the back of the monitors, the Amran lighting setup, and his BenQ light bar really add a charm in terms of color and lighting. I'm happy with the way it looks and happy with this platinum color we got from Bear. I really think this whole corner just screams Jan. When it comes to my cleaning, I've got a few things that do the job for me. I've got 2 Dyson vacuums, one for heavy duty stuff and the other for dust more than anything. I actually use this one a lot more for cleaning the desks, any sort of tables, over equipment, the kitchen and so on. The other Dyson is mainly used for the floors when we drill holes, heavy duty dust and things like such. And as for the Dyson air purifier, it's simply what we use to try and keep the air as clean as we can. At the end of the day, we do reside in the building with a bunch of spaces and the AC system is sort of shared. There's lots of dust in the ducts, and so it's important to try and keep the air as clean as we can. This along the narwhal are controlled through the iPad. The narwhal is something I don't use as much as we used to. We have a lot of cables on the floor, but now that things are looking a lot cleaner, I'm going back to remapping it so I can use it as a mop. Yes, it cleans spaces very well, don't get me wrong, but its mop feature is elite.
So yeah, we're currently very much outgrowing this space. I mean, the channel is growing, the business is growing. Treating this as a media company has been incredibly fun. But I do need to decide what to do next. I treat the channel a lot like a tech lifestyle documenting my process sort of YouTube page, but what I really want is to eventually have something a bit like MKBHD with your help. I'd love to review more products, invest more and more time into research, build more makeovers, have a media team. Right now, I review based on my own experience, my own small research, and my knowledge with hardware. The goal for me is to keep its relevancy, keep interacting with you guys, and honestly just push out the best content I can. I guess we can say that this is only the start to this tech media company. If you guys have any tips, feedback, things you think we should do on the channel, let me know down below. Honestly, I'm open to any sort of criticism to make the channel a lot better. As you can see from the office, we're taking the goal seriously and we can't wait to deliver more. Hope you like the tour and really allows you to sort of understand what we do and our end goal. I'll see you guys next week. Take care. Cheers.